Steve Taylor here for Amazon.com, giving you a look at the Corvette Stingray mid-engine revolution. Corvette has finally put out a mid-engine version of the Corvette. It's kind of been a long time in waiting, and so they took the time and they made a book. I do have another Corvette book on the history of the Corvettes. A lot of the pictures are the same. A lot of the history of the Corvette is pretty much identical. Probably put out by the same people. I didn't really compare the two, but a good coffee table book and a good book for those who are Corvette aficionados. This is an authorized book. It's got the GM seal of approval down here, and the cover actually does come off. So that is actually the cover of the book if you are looking at taking the paper off. The paper is not going to last forever. Not sure exactly why. This is a great cover. They should have actually printed that onto the actual cover of the book instead of the piece of paper. You know, as a coffee table book, this isn't going to last that long. And of course, if you read it, take it off and then put it back on when you're done. I did want to give you kind of peruse through it a little bit, give you some ideas of what the inside of the book looked like. Hey, you know what I'll do first? I'll measure it so get an idea how big this book really is. So it's 10 inches by 11 inches. So this is your large size coffee table book. Now let's go ahead and look through this. You can get an idea of some of the pictures, the photograph, the layout, that kind of thing. It does cover a lot of history, so there's a lot of information in here. What a beautiful car, eh? I had the 1972 convertible. Had a red exterior, red interior. It was a roadster. It was an absolutely gorgeous car. It had a 350. Not one of the special editions, but one of the best cars I've ever owned, and just regret getting rid of it. So a lot of stuff on the Vette, and we're just going to go ahead and shoot through some of the history here of They go over the history of the Corvette and car engines, rear engine or mid-engine cars, and so it does give you a lot of information. It goes over some of the ones that never went to market. So they're interesting cars, but they were never made into production. So some of the things about how they do the cars, and that's gorgeous. The wraparound window. Not practical, probably wouldn't have passed government regulations, but a lot of really interesting pictures that you don't see everywhere. So I'm just going to fly through this a little bit, go over some of the engineers, some of the designers. I've been to the Corvette Museum in Kentucky, and one of these is in there, and it's the only other one I've ever seen was a kit car, which looked to be original. Obviously, it wasn't. Very beautiful car. So I am skipping through this. I'm not going to go through every page, obviously. Then you wouldn't have to buy the book. But I just wanted to give you a look of the layout of the book. So, of course, you know, if you're into cars, they take a wrap and they do a very interesting design on the outside of the car so that photographers can't pick out details of the cars when they're being tested on a track somewhere, because these paparazzis or whatever they are will get by the fence or something, try to get pictures of these cars before they come out. That's beautiful. And that's the C8 right there rendering, and just some really beautiful stuff. So this is a real must for the Corvette fan, or just the car fan alone. If you like reading about cars and learning, and maybe one day you would hope to get one of these, then I think this would be a great book for you. It really, truly is, in my opinion, the best American-made sports car. Chevy has really done a great job of keeping this car set aside, and they haven't changed it so much that they've destroyed it. But and they've kept it at a value that really is staggering. I mean, if you look at any of the high performance sports cars nowadays, you can spend hundreds of thousands or even into the millions to get a car of this value, and Chevy has kept the price down. I mean, yeah, this is not a car you're just going to go run out and buy on a whim, but it is doable for most middle American people and people that are retired and they've always wanted one. You can actually make this happen. A little bit on the LT and the L1 and the LT engine. And just that's about it. I don't want to go through every single thing in the book. It goes through brakes and technology and controls and computers and all that. So I did want to give you a look at the book. I do think it's excellent. I will give it 5 stars. And hopefully you got a little bit of an understanding of what kind of book this is. I am Steve Taylor. Well, you know what? I am Steve Taylor, but I'm going to give you the number of the pages just in case it doesn't list it. Okay, Acknowledgements is on page 208. So it's not a little book. Plenty of reading, plenty of photographs, very well laid out. The designer did a great job. So this is Steve Taylor for Amazon.com.